What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandel. I'm coming to you live today from sunny Delray Beach, Florida. Scott Woolley Studios. What a treat I have for you guys today. We don't know this name. You don't know this name. I bumped into him in an elevator at Lightspeed headquarters in Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada. On my way to do my deal with Brad Lee, who you all know is the friggin' man. I love him. I respect him. And Lightspeed is just the bomb. His name is Greg Finney. And, they say when you strip away the money and you strip away the titles and the success, who is Greg Finney? Well, we're all going to find out today. Greg, thanks so much for coming on today. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Happy to be here, man.
So cool, right? You reminded me, we met in an elevator. I'm just going to say, Greg is a big boy. This is no pencil neck, executive geek who went to the right schools, climbed the corporate ladder. This is a man. Tell me, Greg, how tall a guy are you?
6 foot, but I look a lot bigger because I'm wide.
You're very wide. I mean, you fill up the whole screen. How much do you weigh?
260.
A spry 260. And you're a muscular guy. I'm going to say you're very fit, bro. I take my hat off to you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a constant grind, Yep. I always figure, your true wealth is your health,
I wish, they say your body's a temple, treat it that way. I heard all this stuff when I was young, but I was too busy going crazy. But I also always was fit. I was always, in the gym, an athlete, a power lifter when I was a kid.
I was going to say, you're pretty jacked in all these things I've seen with you.
Yeah. I used to fight. I got into, after I got hurt a few times, pressing like 400 pounds like an idiot. And the doctors would say to me, what do you need to lift 400 pounds for? What are you doing? Are you stupid? Just do 200 like 25 times. But, this is about you today. And I met you and I was so, I'm so focused and I'm on my way to see Brad and you were very courteous and kind and you're this big guy. I thought you were like a bodyguard or security or something. It's very funny how
a lot of people say that.
we make quick judgments. And, the truth is you're a very, very successful man by any standard, by any measure. And so you make home in Vegas. Is that it? Nevada?
Yeah. I moved here about a year and a half ago now. Originally from a small town called Erie, PA. It's outside of Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. A Pennsylvania boy. I get it. So what I want to do is I want to dial back the clock because who is Greg Finney? I mean, you're a serious man and you're a coach. You're a performance coach. You sell advice, etc. You're counsel to high net worth men and women, right? Successful people that are looking for just a few more answers in their life. That's what I'm guessing. So it's just so great to meet you in this fashion and for my fans, my audience, etc. I'm psyched. So you were born in Erie, Pennsylvania, grew up there, raised all that family?
Yep. Yeah.
Tell us about it. Tell us about your youth, the kind of guy you were. And
so, I grew up in, older Irish Italian neighborhood. Got in a lot of fights, a lot of trouble. My father died when I was young, so my mother raised me. Worked 3 jobs, so it's where I learned my work ethic. But she was always gone, so I got a lot of trouble, a lot of fights. Got really got into a lot of fights, and I started selling drugs at a young age, and but I met my first mentor that kind of got me out of that, took my anger, took my fighting into wrestling and showed me about the power of mentorship and the power of influence. And I kind of turned that around, got into wrestling, got into mixed martial arts for a while. I was fighting before it was legal. We used to fight the Indian reservations. And so those were bare knuckle, 25-minute fights.
Love that stuff. Yeah, I can't believe it.
I did them for a while. Got into arm wrestling for a while until I snapped my arm in half.
Jesus, bro. Firstly, look at that arm, man. Look at that size of that arm. I mean, you got a 20-inch plus arm, correct?
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's about 21 right now.
Yeah. My most, I was like 19 and three quarters.
But it's
You
still
know,
big.
yeah, because I'm only 5'9", but I was 220 at the time, 225. I was pretty jacked, as you mentioned. So, how old were you when your dad passed, if you don't mind me asking?
12.
Yeah, I was 16, just so you know,
Oh yeah,
and my
yeah.
younger
So
brother was 13. So I can relate to that. My life, I my guess is that we look for mentorship in the world. Well, right now we offer that guys like us because we learned, the school of hard knocks, so to speak. But in a healthy family environment, your dad should be sort of a mentor, right, or a guiding light for most men. That's how I see it. And so I understand you had a propensity for aggressive behavior. Let's call it like that, right?
yeah, and I lucked out. My mother was a tough woman, still is,
I'm
and
sure.
she taught me how to fight. Literally, she literally locked the front door when I got chased home by these two kids, and was yelling at me to turn around and fight these kids, and I got my ass whooped, and but afterwards she licked my wounds and took me inside, and I was like, wow, that ain't so bad. Well, the next day I took a bat to school and got in a fight and ended up getting kicked out of school and into another school, and that started my journey of unleashing a little bit of madness and anger. I was a crazy kid. Wasn't a bully, because I was bullied for a while, and then when I realized that you ain't bullying me anymore, I got into training. I started lifting at 12. I did my first bodybuilding show at 14.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, and really got into training, and that's pretty much training, martial arts, wrestling, those things. I'm not a team player. I liked individual sports because I like to challenge myself. It was always me against me, and that just started my journey and learning and meeting people. And I met like I said, I met my first mentor, and that's what I try to preach to everybody. You're not going to learn everything on your own, and you can save yourself years and years of hardship and turmoil by getting the right people and the right mentors around you.
It's potentially the most important thing in my opinion, because when my father passed, I just latched on to people that all have their own narrative, their own agenda, their own lives to live, and I was sort of I had no north star. My only north star was get money, get money, get money, and I was angry, just like you. My story, there are so many similarities, but this is your podcast, so we're going to get your story out. And but I want you to know I relate to so much of everything you're saying. I lost two fights in my life, and they didn't really lose; they weren't big fights, but I got hit and didn't know what to do. Bad,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned more from those two fights than the 100 that I won.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I vowed that that can never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
If a guy takes a shot and hits me, well, guess what? My call to action.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at a knee, a throat, the balls, whatever I got to do, the eyes. It's if you're going to hit me,
Yeah.
in my mind, unprovoked, well, guess what? Everything's fair game. So now you're in Pennsylvania. Now you've alluded to you've had some mentors early on. Can you tell us how that all happened?
Actually, my first mentor was a priest. It was a Catholic priest, and I'm not Catholic. I was born Catholic, baptized Catholic. I'm a Christian now.
Okay,
Pretty strong in my faith,
I love it.
and got baptized, rebaptized about 12 years ago.
Really, good for you. Wow, I love it.
Yeah, and it's been a big part of my life because whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, or you're on the fence, if you just live by the commandments, you're a better person. You're a better father,
Thank
son,
you.
brother, sister, just person. You're better.
Thank you. Yes, well put. By the way.
And I try to live by that. So he was my first mentor, and I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff because I would look at people with nice cars and nice things, and I'd say, well, I can't have that. And then I'd see drug dealers with nice stuff. I'm like, well, I could do that.
Right.
So I actually started off robbing drug dealers, and I would strong arm them and take their stuff and then sell it.
Of course.
And then I got this mentor, and he just told me, he goes, drugs and business, it's all the same. Whether you're a drug dealer or a Fortune 500 company, it's all the same principles. He goes, you do a pretty good job at this. He goes, why don't you apply that to work? And 16 years old, I started a car wash. It was my first business.
Cool.
And that developed into a car dealership and a body shop and multiple businesses after that, and multiple mentors through the years. I was kind of a sponge after that. I remember Carlton Sheets at course, and I remember in tape set, and I remember Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within tape set.
Yep.
And then I was just hooked after that with finding mentors, finding people that are doing the things I want to do in life. I love to read. I love to. I invest in myself every day, because at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit and nobody's going to help you.
Right.
Your mother can only do so much for you.
Right.
And I'm just a constant sponge. Even to this day, I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly going to events. Hence, one of the driving reasons of why I finally sold my last company. I had two major exits. I owned a furniture store chain that I sold out to Rent-A-Center in 2000.
Wow.
And then I got heavy into real estate. And when the market crashed in 2006, I got in some, a little bit of trouble with one day when the Secret Service and and the feds knocked on my door. Well, they didn't knock, but
I had a similar experience in 2006. 40 guys showed up at my brokerage firm with guns drawn and jackets. You know what I mean?
Yep. Same thing for me.
Crazy.
And, that changed the whole trajectory of my life, and lost everything. Was sleeping in an attic with no, I had a house with an indoor in-ground pool. I was living the dream, living the life. Had all the money I could imagine. My kids were growing up happy. They kept them at the house all the time because everybody wanted to come to our house, and got to raise them the way I wanted. And then it all come crashing down, and instead of feeling sorry for myself, I got in there with Enron guys and a lot of the most brilliant guys in the world, and started some business groups in there, and continued to learn. I wasn't smoking and joking and playing cards and telling stories. I was focused on how am I going to make up all this.
Right.
And 39 years old, I got home with no money, no credit, nothing. Went back
And a record.
and a record.
Right.
I realized, even at a young age, that working for somebody was a scam to me. I've had, I think, one W-2 my whole life, and I just went back to trying to help people and engage with people, and that in turn helped me to open businesses. And my last venture was a large waste industry company, and I sold that company last year to move to Vegas, because I love Vegas. All the action's here, every influencer's here, every mentor's here. That's one of the fastest growing cities. It's really revived now, and I'm able to do the things I want on my terms. I work when I want now. I'm big into charity. I help homeless. I usually spend my Sundays mentoring. Not really mentoring, more ministering and feeding homeless every Sunday. That's kind of
So great, bro.
my purpose that I've found in life. It's so funny. I always based, and I bet you can relate to this. I always based my self-worth on my net worth. The Rolex, the car, the house, the next, the hot girls, and I had all that, and I was fucking miserable, man. I was never happy. I always, thought I was. People thought I was. I had nice stuff, but I was never happy. Once I stopped being a taker and stopped putting my value on tangible things that means nothing to you, that at the end of the day, when you're sitting at your dying bed, you don't care about all that stuff. You care about who you impacted, who did you influence, what kind of mark did you make? Are you gonna influence people? Are people gonna remember you for good, or are they gonna remember you for being not a good person, a terrible person? And Now I became a giver. I try to help people. I'm nice to everybody. I open doors. I try to connect people together. I'm a big networker. And now that I've done that, like, it comes back to you tenfold. You know, I don't meet somebody and say, what could you do for me? I meet somebody and find out what they could do so I can connect them to somebody in my network and help them. And that's the best feeling in the world. And that's how I live my life now.
I just love what you have to say. I want you to know it hits home with me. I get you. I understand kind of where you're at. Um, and the mad respect for your journey because
Thank you.
it wasn't easy. We'll get to this now in a minute, because I'm just listening very, very closely to you. You know, I was worth 150 million personally, married to a woman of my friggin' dreams and pretty much every man's dreams. Two beautiful children, four homes. I had four homes. So when I went shopping, I bought four of everything. My company had 200 million cash, no debt, and I was the only one that could write a check. And Forbes had done a big story on me. It came out May of '05, 3 pages. Ross Mandel just made 45 million in some deal, and he's buying stock. He's selling stock. He's buying politicians. All true. And everybody was like coming to kiss the ring, so to speak. I was the man, whatever. And I said, I'm dead. I'm dead. I just intuitively knew I'm in trouble. I'm now at the highest point or pinnacle everybody perceived. I had everything that was beyond my wildest dreams, and I was not happy.
Right?
I did not have inner peace. You'd think I would have been secure, inner security. I was anxious, almost like waiting for shoes to drop. I had gotten beyond any place I ever even thought I could get, and did it all my own. I'm a scrap. I'm a grinder. No father, no money. Came from nothing.
Same
Then,
here.
I'm a raging drug addict. Then I get sober. I owe $1 million, having made turning 1,500 into 30 million in the stock market, plus spent about 5 million. And then 1988, I wake up in 1990. I'm in drug rehab. I committed myself, and I owed $1 million. I had nothing, nowhere to live. But the most important thing is all the people I looked after, took care of, gave. Nobody was there to visit me, to write me. You know, like my friend says, when you're buying drinks, the bar's crowded, everybody's you're the man. As soon as you stop buying drinks, you're sitting there alone.
Yep.
And, that's what you said about, your Christianity, your faith. I'm Jewish, but to me, it's all the same. Any religion, following, association, organization that preaches goodness, family, faith, belief in a creator, one God. You call him Jesus. I call him Hashem. This guy yesterday, a wonderful guy, Beck Glover, New York City, calls him Allah. It doesn't matter to me. It's about what this particular journey stands for. And anything that's about goodness, being helpful, being kind, they're basically, to me, it's all kind of the same. There's like good and evil. And I've experienced both firsthand. And I sense that you understand exactly what I'm saying right now.
100%.
And when I started doing for other people, I got back tenfold.
Absolutely.
And I'm building a company right now called Raw Media. And I'm taking the people that do for me, I'm giving back tenfold. You do for me, you're going to see it's 10x. Brad gave Grant Cardone the 10x idea. Brad is a brilliant marketer. He comes up with names and just flies off his tongue, And but I'm a 10x guy now. I tell a guy I'm going to give him 20,000, I give him 200,000. It's just I want to. I now know what's really important in life. I remember I had 112 months to figure it out, and then a lifetime before that. I didn't go to prison until I was 57 years old. So it was a different kind of journey for me, and it was an extensive one. But so I love where you're at. I get it. But you aren't always this calm, this at peace, this centered. I mean, you now know what's important. But if I met you 25 years ago when you were selling that first company, maybe not, right?
Oh, I was a madman. I mean, I was still a good person, I think, to a certain degree. But
Right. I get it.
I womanized. I had the beautiful girls, and I
Everything.
was in great shape. I drive the nice stuff, and I was arrogant. I was, it's hard not to be, especially when you're successful at a younger age. But all my friends didn't have money, so I spent a lot of money on my friends. I did a lot with my friends. I didn't like being alone, So, and some of them friends are still there. Most aren't.
Most are not.
When your kingdom falls,
Right.
They disappear.
Well, then you know who you call them your friends, but they're really not your friends until the kingdom falls.
Yeah, it's funny. The ones that I thought were more acquaintances or people I know are the ones that turned out to be the real friends.
Right.
Sending me boots, putting money on my books, looking after my mother, coming after my mother. The ones that said they're going to take care of my mother, you have nothing to worry about. Your mother's taken care of, because all I cared about was my mother and kids being taken care of. They never visited them. They never checked on them. They never did nothing. The people that I just kind of met and just had a good, vibration or whatever with, those are the ones that stepped up, and I'm still thankful today for them, because it's funny how, like you said, man, when the drinks are flowing, the room's packed, but at the end of the day, you're really just drinking alone.
At the end of the day, it's funny. I learned something at the height. The guys that told me, I got your back, bro. They got my back for sure, so they could stick a knife in it at the appropriate time. That's where they got my back. And every time I hear that expression, I cringe. I literally, I have a physical reaction today. And it's just almost like a tell. I don't know how to explain it. That's been in my life. I'm telling, that's my story, not your story. But I think you understand.
Absolutely.
You got my back, all right. Just enough so you can kick me in the ass or push me down the stairs or push me out of the way or stick a knife, etc. Now, was there a defining moment for you, like a breakdown or a breakthrough, where you realized you couldn't just be average? You didn't want just a mediocre life.
Well, I mean, there's excuse me. There's two parts of that. One, I seen my mom work three jobs.
Wow.
To have nothing.
A beast. Well, she had you. Don't she had a son that she loved and probably grandchildren. That's what she was fighting for.
Yeah, she made sure
killing herself.
Yeah, kill herself just so I can have nice stuff to wear to school, so I don't get picked on. Just to make sure that I had a better life than the circumstances we lived in. Like, she sacrificed her whole life for me. She's the most amazing woman still to this day. But that showed me, though, that I'm never going to work for somebody. I'm never going to work for peanuts to have nothing and sacrifice my life. So that started my, entrepreneur journey. That started where, I'm not going to, I heard a guy one time at a job site telling everybody to hurry up because he's got a new car to buy, to get working because he's got a new car to buy. And I didn't like that at all. I'm like, I want
blame you.
So that's what really motivated me and changed my life and gave me the discipline to be a business owner, to figure it out, to learn the things that business owners learn. So I changed my crowd of people. I changed the people that I was around. I was just a sponge to it. I joined a country club when I couldn't even afford the country club, because where I'm from, it's an old steel town. There's no young money, no new money, no sports money. It's old money and old mob money, and they keep it that way. So, I made sure I got in with them and got around the right rooms, around the right people. And, you want to become a millionaire. If you're in a room of four, you'll be the fifth.
I love that. Say that again.
If you want to be a millionaire, if you're around four millionaires, you'll be the fifth.
I love that.
You surround yourself with,
I saw that post you made today when I was yesterday when I was researching you a little bit. And I instantly thought about the guys that I hang around with, my inner core. Mm-hmm. And I was very comfortable that we're all millionaires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was very comfortable with that. You actually made me think about that, and I want anybody listening to this. If you look at the people, the 4 or 5 people that you're most closest to, who are they? Because that's where you're going. If they're out of work, that's where you're going.
Do you like what you see? If you don't, you better change it.
Yep.
You know, I am always. I used to say I'm the dumbest guy in the room, but I'm always the less educated. Because if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong rooms. You know, so I always went to rooms where people were smart. Still to this day, I go around people that are way more educated than me in different areas of life. And if you're sitting around with your buddies, drinking, going to bars, chasing girls, you don't get opportunities. But when you're around guys that have, big net worths, now they're, hey, I got this deal. You want in on this deal? Hey, I got this going on. Opportunities present themselves when you're around people that get opportunities.
Or create opportunities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guys that I'm with, they're creating opportunities all along, and that's like God's message saying, listen, it's right here, bro. Step up to the plate and take the opportunity. They don't, $1 million opportunities don't just come around unless you're in the right crowds. I get that.
You're around the right crowds. My other real defining moment was much later. I had a guy do an exercise with me, and he said, if you were to die today, Greg, because I had a lot of moral compass issues at this time,
What time of your life was this?
It's about 15 years ago. It was like right after I got home. I was still real driven now. Like I was 39 years old. I got a lot of stuff to do. I got a lot of ground to make up, man. I was on it. Well, this guy said, I want to do a lesson. He goes, if you were to die today and you were looking down at your eulogy, what would people say? Would anybody come?
Would that.
Anybody talk? Would anybody have good things to say? Would your mother speak? Would your friends speak? Would your kids speak? I didn't know the answer, and I didn't like the answer I thought it was. I know today, if I died today, I think the room would be packed with people having a celebration. They would talk about, they would be laughing, they would be crying. They'd have a lot of things to say and a lot of lives I've touched right now. And I feel confident in my life because I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like that lesson at all because it's a one-on-one. We have more conversations. We talk to ourselves more than anybody on this earth. You're going to have more conversations with your own self.
Correct.
Than you talk to anybody, and my self-talk after that was like, wow, I really care only about me. I thought I cared about my kids. I thought I cared about my family. I thought I was a good guy, but no, I was just a self-consuming, look at me, look at what I have, look what I can do.
Correct.
And I was always told I was going to be a failure at teachers. I struggled in school. I got in fights every day. I really was a violent kid. And I don't regret it because now there's not a place I go where I'm worried about going. I was at dinner one time and it was a hibachi and there was these young kids and it blew my mind. These young kids were like, what's it feel like to never be afraid to go anywhere? And I'm like, what the hell are you even talking about? And these kids were like, yeah, we won't go into certain neighborhoods. We won't go into certain clubs. We avoid certain situations. And I've never had that. I mean, I've been in bad neighborhoods and things, but I'm aware of my surroundings, but I've never been afraid to go anywhere, and I was just a consuming person. And I used everybody I could to my benefit. If I met you 20 years ago, I'd ask you what you did for a living, find out what you could do. And if you had something I can gain from, we'd have a conversation. If not, I'd move on.
Next. Right.
Yeah, horrible way to live.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, when I meet people and they're genuine, I don't care if they're, have 2 nickels in their name or they're a Fortune 500 company. If I have somebody that I can introduce them to, some kind of value, if I can say something to pick them up if they're having a bad day, I just try to serve now, man. And a lot of people don't see it because I'm a big, tattooed up, scary looking guy. And I just want to help people now, man. Like, that's my purpose. My purpose in life is to give and help. I don't care about the fancy. I like nice stuff, don't get me wrong. It doesn't drive me anymore. I could care less about the sports cars, about all the fancy things. I mean, I got absolutely stunning wife that actually loves me and cares about me,
Correct.
and was with me when I had no money, and now she's still with me, and she works, and it's life is good now. I finally, it took me 51 years. It took me 50 because this last year has been when I've really realized everything, like really dug into my faith, and like I'm where I want to be. There's more I want to accomplish, more things I want to do. But if I died today, man, I lived a good life. It's like a roller coaster. It's
Right.
ups, downs, fast, scary, turns, dark spots, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
I could literally feel the gratitude coming out of you, and to me, that is a huge sign. You know what I mean? It's I'm very sensitive to these kind of things because today's not my story, but I just want you to understand that I met you randomly. I got to Nevada. I was with a bunch of people. We got into an out. We didn't know where Lightspit is, Brad is, what floor. You're this big, friggin' muscular, tatted up dude, and I'm like, but I have an odd sense of I'm not afraid of things that I should be afraid of or nervous of, and I have fears of things that are the most ridiculous things. Women laugh at me over that, but over stuff like seeing a guy like you, I almost feel comfortable. It's because I mean that's what I'm used to. I'm from, and you were so lovely, not knowing who I was, so soft spoken, and I was almost taken aback by your almost like serenity as a man in this weird thing. But I take a lot of things in, and I could feel like an aura coming from you of goodness, and even though you're the picture of you says something else to anybody else in their mind. I right away I just saw and felt goodness, and you wanted to be of service, helpful, and that's something that's a concept that is foreign to me because everything's all about me, and I know the earth couldn't have revolved around you because it was revolving around me.
Hmm.
So it was. It's this healing and recovery is real. Anybody that's listening, I mean. It's just a magnificent thing to meet another a man. You're a man's man. You're not a pansy. You're not a nerd. You're not geeky. We're all odd. We're all different. We're packaged different. But there are so many common threads that we all share, and I prefer to focus on that commonality stuff. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And especially when when a good person comes sort of into my sphere or my orbit. Like I was shocked, going out for dinner. I came down to Vegas with like 10 people to meet Brad and all these different things. Went back the second time. I still had like 6 or 7 people. But when I was alone with Brad in his truck, he loves that truck. You gotta, I needed a stepladder to get in there. Like, as a crazy guy he is. And we went to a fantastic restaurant, which to me, I'm as comfortable in IHOP as I am in a Michelin 4-star restaurant, really,
Right.
because I've seen it all. I've been, I spent a lot of years very wealthy, and and I was, what I feel for, I was surprised that I got that same feeling from Brad.
Yeah.
And I know that he wasn't like that because we shared openly together and touched on some interesting topics for two sort of alpha males that hadn't met each other. But I felt that same aura of goodness I felt like he's just beginning the journey more, and I feel like you're more centered on the journey. But I don't know. I'm just making a snap feel like it's still interesting to him. He's like, when you because it was very weird for me when I got clean and I found God and I did the steps and I found the girl of my dreams and I had kids and I bought my first all these different things. Like I was new on that journey. But the second I became self-serving again and ego-driven, and instead of serving God, I became God. That's when again my life slid backwards and all that. Um,
Isn't that true? When
it's really interesting,
got it
man.
all on yourself and you think you are God, you get humbled real quick. It
That's
might
what
not be
happens.
today, it might not be tomorrow, but when you don't have them, because it's all His anyways, we're just stewards of it.
Correct.
When I was partying and getting girls and hookers and I liked my women. I liked the strip clubs. I liked doing all the crazy stuff. And I don't regret anything. I loved my life. I loved every part of my life.
Right. I get it.
Everything I've done. I'm glad that I went through everything I went through, because there's so many guys that'll never experience life at the level that I experienced it. And I take the good, bad, and ugly. I love every bit of it. I love everything that has made me into the man that I am today. Because I know what real problems are. There's guys out there, and they're real problems to them, but there's guys out there that are pissed off that their dad got them a yellow Lamborghini instead of the red one.
Correct.
And for them, that's a real problem. For me, I laugh about it, because I really struggled. I really had nothing. I really had to build something, and now it's just like, I take it from Brad's playbook. Every day you wake up, you get another day. And just like Denzel Washington said, it's been with me for years, I keep my slippers underneath my bed. So every morning I have to get down on my knees.
I love that. I know.
Upstairs.
I love what Denzel's been saying. I love it. I love it.
And I've been doing that for years, literally, because I'm a little creakier and harder to get down to get them. But if I don't,
that feeling too.
But if I don't, I forget. And now it's such a habit. Now, the first thing I do when I open up my eyes is I give thanks to him. I give thanks to a few things in my life. And then what else could go wrong? You got another day. All these people wake up and I don't want to get up. It's Monday. I got problems. I got solutions, man. And I got the intellect, the wherewithal, and the grind to solve problems. So there's solutions to me. There's no problems,
I love it. Yeah, I'm in the solution business myself. And, there's so many commonalities between us. It's unbelievable. It's like you're stealing all my lines and all this kind of thing.
We're cut from the same cloth, there's
you're killing me, bro. I mean, it's fantastic.
Unfortunately, we're a dying breed. I'm trying to bring that back in a lot of young men. When I see young men out here, I really try to mentor young men a lot.
That's right. I've been doing the same. I've been doing the same.
We're so demasculated, man bun, skinny jean wearing.
Bro, I get it.
Chivalry's gone. They don't open a door. If I didn't open a door for a woman or for somebody, or lend a hand, and just my mother would destroy me.
I get it.
It's crazy, the lack of respect and the entitlement that's in our country.
And they're soft. These guys are so soft, bro. I mean, it kills me. I don't really get it. It like frightens me because I have two daughters looking for men and boyfriends and all these kind of things. And I'm like, thank God, meeting these guys. Like, I feel like slapping them and just saying, what the hell is with you, dude?
Yeah.
Snap out of it, man. It's like a nutty thing. I like this. I want to comment on something you said. Everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
Yeah.
And I've lived, and I know that you have too. We have lived. And, a lot of that is, if you're talking scripture and biblical, it's very negative. But it's all in scripture. In scripture, they had women that were escorts and men that killed each other and fought. And the Old Testament and the New Testament is really like a wild, dramatic book and story of things. When God wanted to make David king, he didn't send him the throne. He sent him friggin' Goliath.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that puts things into perspective for me sometimes. And I pray all day, and when I open my eyes, I say something called Modeh Ani Lefenecha Melech V'Kayam Shechazata B'Nishmati B'Chel Rabah Amunateka. When I come to mentally, as I'm opening my eyes, this is like an Orthodox Hebrew prayer. It says, you are waking up. If you really believe in the Creator, in God, you're about to open your eyes, wake up. The king is standing there. You better acknowledge him first, because you're waking up with bad breath, your hair's all over the place, your back hurts, but you're waking up in the presence of a king, of your creator. So thank him for another opportunity to open your eyes, take a breath, and face a new 20. And I always say that, thank God a day is only 24 hours. I've had some really bad days.
Hmm.
I've had some really, by any standards,
Yep.
I have had some bad fucking days.
Mm.
And I know that you get all this. I
Right.
understand you. It's you get it now. Now this leads me to what I consider a great question. You know a lot about performance, right? You've built companies, you've changed your game, you've recreated yourself,
Mhm.
reinvented yourself in many ways. But what does high performance actually mean to Greg Finney in life, in business, your mindset, all that?
High performance is getting the best out of every minute of your day on your terms, whatever that is that you want to do. If
Whatever it is.
honestly, if you want to sit by a pool all day long, well, you better perform the things in your life well and better than well to get to that point. So many people sacrifice their health to chase wealth. And Steve Jobs said it best on his dying bed, I can't
Right.
pay anybody to die for me. All that money did nothing for him. You got
Six
to take,
billion dollars, and he's
yeah,
still suffering like crazy and died at what 50? Well, he was your age, younger than you, I think.
yeah, and he it literally it
Billion,
stuck when he
biggest
said,
company in the world.
I can't pay anybody to die for me. So I just try to teach people and help people to live their best life. To stop thinking about the future and stop. If you got one foot in the future, one foot in the past, you're pissing on the present. Everybody's worried about the end result, the end game. Enjoy the fucking journey, man.
Correct.
Enjoy the present moment that you're here and do it the best. Why do something half-ass? Why put a half effort into anything? Why just like I hate the word motivation because it's crap. Because whenever you're not motivated, you don't do it. You just
Right.
got to be disciplined in your life and make your why, whatever it is your life, make your why your priority and go after it. And just be all in everything you do. Like I don't like moderation. I don't like when people say they balance. There's no balance for me. If I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids, 100% present. If I'm
Right.
in my job, I'm with my job, my work, 100% present. If I'm with my wife, I'm 100% present in that moment. And if you do it full throttle at each part of your life, you could do all of those things versus being half pregnant in 10 different things and just being mediocre. I teach people to be their best self. There's no reason that you can't make, millions or even billions of dollars, but still take care of your health, still take care of your family, still take care of other things in life.
I
And
get it
that
100%.
I try to teach people how to be present in every single moment and real intentional in what they do. And that's to me is peak performance and top performance in your life.
The word present is very important. The word intention is very, very important. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
I
sure. How
get
many,
all that.
how many times are you with your kids, but you're on your phone, you're on your laptop, you're thinking about other kids, they're playing at the beach. Are you really present with the kids? I'd rather be 2 hours at the beach with my kids with no cell phone, no computer, nobody bothering me, just me focused on my kids than 5 hours with them where I'm on the cell phone, I'm talking to this person, I'm writing this down, I'm taking these notes. You
I
got to
get it.
be present, man.
You know how many times my kids tell me, "Dad, please get off your phone,"
Oh,
and I'm like, I'm so. I used to, ignore them, like, or just say poo poo them, but I'm now realizing, again, I'm guilty of something that I teach people
hmm
to stop doing. So this segues perfectly into what if what are the top, the number one mindset or the top reasons why, what holds people back from success.
fear.
And how, I agree with that, but how do you crush it? How do you get them out of that, that fear, really?
Yeah, I just, you got to help them change their mindset, their why. Like, if you want something bad enough, you're going to do it. Like, or, I don't have time. Well, you weren't born with a fucking calendar. You filled your calendar up.
Correct.
You chose
Correct.
to take the things that you want in life and not put them on your calendar because they're not as important enough for you. They don't mean enough. When you really want to do something bad enough, you make sure you do it.
Exactly
So,
right. Exactly right.
and I just try to teach people to get out of their comfort zone and to what I do is a little different approach. I change 1% a day. Just just baby steps. I don't like when I do people's meal plans and financial plans and workout plans and everything. It's not all these macros, this crazy diet, all this stuff that's just going to
Right.
die.
Right.
I change one. I often do one meal a day. That's a meal plan that takes. The rest is just proportion sizes. When they exercise, I don't have them start with as somebody that hasn't been in a gym in years. You're not going to the gym 5 days a week. I'll have you start with 2 days a week.
Right. I get it.
And build up to it. If you change 1% of your life a day, just 1%, in 365 days, you can have the life you want.
You're a new person, right? I get it.
You're
I
totally
love it.
different.
I love it. So incremental steps, like you call
Yeah.
baby steps. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You don't want to overwhelm anybody. It's too much. I know these guys. They mean well. They take a guy and they're gonna train him. They put him in the gym, and 2 days later, the guy can't walk. The guy can't wash his face. He's so
Yep.
sore. He's so hurting, and that's the beginning of the end. I mean, for a lot of guys,
And you and I could do that.
I live that.
We're,
Yeah,
we're,
right.
we're, we're hardcore. We can work all day long, work out, party like rock stars,
Exactly.
get up the next morning, do it all over again, and just crush it. But not everybody's built like us.
I get that 100%, and it's really
So
good.
I realize, and I used to be the worst with that. Maybe part of seeing this soft generation because I own a concrete business, and I would crush my guys. I mean, I went through employees like crazy. I mean, they had grit. These guys. I need a 15-minute break. I need a cigarette break. I need this break. I'm like,
Right. Are
I
you
need
kidding?
to eat while you're freaking poor. Like, I mean, eat it now, taste it later. Like,
I get it.
that's the way I am, and I know that's the way you are. That's the way we
100%.
grew up. But the masses aren't like that.
Correct.
It took a while for me to realize that. Like, why do you have to be such a pussy? Why? But it's just that's society. There's not too many people that are like that. But that's why not everybody was in the Coliseum fighting.
Exactly
Most of
right.
most of them were spectators. So that's why I've changed my approach to not look at it what I can do and what I'm capable of doing. I look at other people and what they're capable of doing. And if you break it down into small, anybody can take little bites of anything.
Correct. I get it.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You and I would be just gorging that and have a whole leg and eating it. And, but most people don't have the wherewithal or aptitude to do that, and that's okay. It's okay. Not everybody's a gladiator,
Now, I'm building a media company. It's called Raw Media. It's actually a Nevada corporation. And people say, "So what do you do?" I said, "I lay bricks." They look at me like, "What?" I said, I lay bricks. What does that mean? Every day I put a brick in place. That's how Rome was built.
Yep.
Every day. It's a grind. I'm a
Yep.
blue collar guy doing white collar stuff. It's just what it is. It's, I'm not one of these great conceptual visionaries. I'm linear. I see something I want and I figure out exactly how to get it. I reverse engineer it down. It's a simple steps. And that's what I do. And I'm like the Terminator. Even if you kill me, I come back. I keep going. I just keep going. I don't ever stop. Don't ever quit. I'm very, I have the ability for that mindset, but I agree with you. Most people are wired a little differently. So when you're helping people, you have to sort of, deal with what you have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's clay, and you're a sculptor. You're a high performance sculptor. And, how you move that clay around is very different. Now, you understand a little about the stock market, right? So I've been in the markets my whole life, every waking moment since I'm 23 years old. And to this day, I've been very, very successful. I'm very good at it. For some reason, I just, I caught on to it. And, I see things that other guys don't get. I see trades. I see opportunities, etc. People want what I have, what you have, this financial ability to do things. They just don't know where to start. Now, I see that you have this AKASH. How do you, AKASH?
Akashics.
Akashics, okay. Does that help simplify the journey? Let's talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, Akashics is great. I've been with them for about 2 years. It's not my company. I'm a affiliate in the company. I love it because what I like about it is it gives you the ability to trading's sexy. It's cool. It's fun. Everybody wants to do it, but most people don't know how to do it. And if they get involved in it, they usually spend a bunch of money and they lose their money and they get out of it.
100%.
Only 5% of the population is in the market. It's a very, very small niche of people. With we have a couple of platforms. You could do tap to trade, where you literally just press a button and the professional traders do the trades for you. You just accept the trade. You have like 2 minutes to decide. You get a text, you want this trade. On the other end, we have a whole educational platform from beginner, intermediate, novice, and expert, to where we teach you how to trade all the different platforms. We have 30 educators on the platform. So you can get on live trades and actually trade live in real time with the traders and just emulate their trades. And then that's when you'll start losing, Fibonacci, higher highs, moving averages, all the different things. Then you learn as you go. And it's a subscription base. It's really inexpensive. We have prop accounts so people can do challenges and actually, when they pass the challenge, use real money that's not their money, leverage other people's money. It's a great, great platform. We have thousands of people on the platform and growing every single day. I'm having an event tonight at my buddy's mansion where we bring people and show them the opportunity. I do it every Wednesday.
I wish I was in Vegas, baby.
Oh, yeah. I would love to have you as a guest speaker. And
I love it.
Every Wednesday we have it. I love to have it on our podcast out there too. Every Wednesday we have my buddy's beautiful mansion overlooking Vegas. We invite 30 to 40 people. We have hors d'oeuvres and things, and then we just get right into it and show them an opportunity, a way that they can financial freedom. I work an hour and a half a day. I trade the market when it opens at 6 a.m. my time. Well, 6:30 a.m.
Correct.
I trade 6:30 to 7:30, hour and a half. I go to the gym after that. By 10 o'clock, I'm done. Because of us this morning, I haven't went to the gym yet. I'll go to the gym by 12. My day's done. My day is done now. I'm used to grinding like you, man. 60, 70-hour weeks, man. I had all the money in the world, but I was just grinding. Now, I spend my time serving. I spend my time helping people and mentoring people and showing people the way that I am. And I'm really in a great, great position in my life right now. It's
so excited for you, bro. It's just like it's really great, and I want others to be able to listen and share and understand. Because it wasn't always like this. You took I know you to some extent now. You've had a painful journey. You have experienced enormous difficulty and obstacles in your life. In reality, but also up here. A lot of the things that we overcome are more so between our ears than they are in real life. But I know you've experienced all of it.
And now it's so wonderful. Now is another thing you and I have in common. I was interviewed for American Greed. I wasn't on American Greed. I declined. But when I found out, when your team reached out to me, was that your daughter? Who reached out?
That's my ex-wife, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. She looks like your daughter. Good job.
She's magnificent. When I tell you I had it all.
Yeah.
I really had it all.
She reached out to me to be on your podcast. Like, that's a huge win for me. That's an honor for me because I respect you. When I met you at Brad's, obviously looked into you and found out your story, found out everything. I'm like, wow, this is just a bigger level version of me, of what you've done. But now when people reach out to me on Instagram every day, people ask me for things every day. I'm on podcasts all the time. Like, it's such an honor. When I found out you wanted me on your podcast, that shows me that I'm making a difference. That shows you that what I'm doing is impacting other people now, not just impacting me and my small circle. And it was an absolute honor. I was so excited when she asked me. I was like, absolutely, because now I want to share my story. I want people to know it's okay to fail. It's okay to fuck up. It's okay to, I tell young guys, fail all the time. I've my camera guy. I got a camera guy, content kid following me now and stuff. And he's like, total introvert. He's had some really big obstacles he's overcome. He's dyslexic and other things. And he's like, how do you get over that fear? And I'm like, you just do it. And like, I can see myself making so many changes in this guy. And if I wouldn't have experienced all the good, bad, and ugly in my life, I wouldn't be able to help that kid. Like the shit you and I have went through, I don't wish that on anybody. But at the
Right.
same time, I'm glad I did, because now I can take everything that I've learned, and instead of being ego about it or keeping it to myself or just letting it die with me, I think God put that in my life, that now I could share all my experiences with people so I can help people, like even the trading platform we're doing with Kaushik's. The average person to take you the guy I'm learning from, that I've learned the most from, it took him 3 years and thousands of dollars learning how to do it. Now I'm saving people that, because they can make money from day one now with us.
Well, that's good. Let's talk about that real quick because, firstly, what did you trade? What are you trading mostly? You, if
Just
you
gold, Bitcoin, and the or S&P 100. Just those three.
I put a buy on gold at $1,800, just so you know. Never put it off. Nick Horton, where are you, Nicky? He was a guy that.
Have you seen gold in the last 2 days? Holy shit,
bro! Let me just say this to you. So I said gold is going to 4,000 when it was 1,800, and this guy Nick Horton, Nicky, he reached out to my team and bought a mastermind from us before I even knew what a mastermind was. We didn't even have a mastermind program, but these two guys got in right after I left Brad. I was on Brad's. They heard the podcast. They said, I got to talk to this. I want to hire this guy. And this guy's in the precious metals business. And he was really struggling. 31, 3 kids, living in an apartment, small 2-bedroom apartment. And he hired me. And we did the 10 one-hour sessions all on Google Meets. Now we're friends. I embrace people. I don't say goodbye. I don't kick them to the curb. That's just not who I am. Once you buy me, you get me forever in some extent. Mm-hmm. And he's the Bullion Bear on Instagram. Nice. And really struggling. After the 3rd or 4th meeting, he went from struggling to do 10 a month to 10 a week.
Nice.
By the 8th meeting, he had his first $80,000 week. And he had 2 of those almost back to back, and bought a home, his first home, for his wife and 3 children. And I have to just say, it brought me such nachas. That's a Yiddish word for, I'm like glowing from the inside, because, most people are so close to leveling up, to moving to the next level, and their head is bumping up against a ceiling. A literal ceiling. And that ceiling today is his floor. Nice. He doesn't ever do less than 10 a week. And then I said, look, stop with all this other stuff, all these different sort of, derivative type things. I said, buy gold, sell gold, call your people up, gold, 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 gold. We're moving into a time of great uncertainty. When I did Brad's Dropping Bombs was the first week of July, 2024. I said on camera, Trump is going to win. He's going to have a honeymoon period with the markets for the first 90 days, first quarter. Reality's going to set in the beginning of the second quarter. I said we're going to be in a bear market by the end of January. I called it to the friggin' week.
And I sat with your entourage and watched your podcast.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. And and I said they're leaving him a debt bomb, a very organized, very sophisticated fiscal and monetary issue. Powell is the perfect guy for the Democrats because he means well, but he just doesn't get it. He's too scared. He's too cautious. He's a reactor rather than he doesn't take action. He reacts, and he can't do that when you're in charge of the fiscal policy of the biggest business in the history of planet Earth, and that's the United States. But
I'm a big old guy.
So everything that's happening, I was prepared for, and I already believe that I know what's going to happen. And this gold went crazy. It did exactly what I said it was going to do. And there's so much happening. But if you were starting right now from zero, I want to just clear the palate for a minute. If you were starting from zero, how would you use this Akashex to build a new stream of income?
Well, because you can get in for a subscription for $149 a month.
Okay, so now $149, you can educate yourself. And if, let's say you had $1,000, could you trade for as little as $1,000?
No, even better. You get a $10,000 prop account. So the prop account is basically a challenge. You got to make 10% without losing 10%.
So it's like paper trading, right?
Yeah. Once you pass that, you got to make 5% without
A down month.
10%. Once you do that, now the money goes live. You don't get the 10,000, but you get to leverage it. So if you make $1,000, they take 20%. So you get $800, they get $200 on the prop account. So you get to use their money. If you pay for the whole year, it's only $1,500. I had millions into my last business that I would never get out until I sold my business. For $1,500, you can get a $200,000 prop account. Once you pass the challenge, now you get to leverage that, and you keep 90% of the profits.
90 or 80? 90 or 80?
90. So you get 80% on the 10,000. You get 90 on the 200,000.
Okay.
So if you make $1,000, you keep 900, and they take 100. We had a lady yesterday. She made 8,500 on one trade on gold. Now gold was crazy the last 2 days. Yeah. I made a ton of money.
Well, I think it went south a little today. I'm not sure. There was a lot of when I left, a lot of hot money going into the stocks.
I got it going up a little bit, but I wrote it not last night, but the night before, like 10:30. A good friend of mine and the guy we host together, he called me, he goes, hey, you got to get a sell in. Because I don't care which way the market's going. I make it up or down.
Well, that's the most important thing. Say that again.
I don't care which way the market's going. I like when it goes down, because when the market tanks, now for my long term, my retirement, I'll buy my, right. I'll buy Tesla. I'll buy
everything's on sale. Everything's on sale.
Everybody sees Bitcoin's at $100,000. I got to get in.
I'm a seller.
And then it fails, and they sell. I got to get out. I wait until it goes down and I buy it, and that's my long term. I don't need that until I retire. That's a long play. I day trade now, so I don't care if the market's going up, if the market's going down. When we follow our trends, we follow our everybody has their own systems. We follow our system, the one that I do. As soon as I see it break a barrier, whatever direction is going, that's where I take my trade.
What are you trading? Are you trading options or futures, or options on futures, or ETFs?
We just trade based on whether it's going. Our system is you just buy, whether it's either buy or sell.
What are you actually buying though? What are you buying? An equity, a derivative?
Equity, basically. So if gold's buying down, we just buy it we use TradeX, Trade Mastery.
So you're actually trading the commodity itself?
Yes.
Okay, you're trading the gold, not the gold stocks.
No, trading the gold itself.
I got you. I'm just trying to understand. Okay, I'm very specific. I'm a trader, so
Yeah, we actually trade the gold itself. Right. So if it's going down, we're buying on the way down. If it's going up, we buy on the way up. We set our stop losses. We set our take profit. We trim as we go. I'm a scalper too. I'll get in and out 30 times and make $5,000 real quick.
Of course you do. You're addicted to the action, my brother.
Yeah.
You love the action.
Yeah. I'll take a trade to make $60, and I'm like, yeah, and then I'll get right back in again and just keep making, or I'll trim, or whatever it is at each time. But I have the same principles and philosophies, and it's super simple. Like, people think it's so hard. The way we do it, it's not hard. The way you do it was hard because you had to know everything.
We didn't have any of these tools, bro. Yeah. What are you kidding me? We didn't have computers when I started. I learned how to trade on the tape. So that right. And I was forced to learn stuff that nobody knows today. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Now it's so easy.
It's so easy. Everybody does everything for you. Yeah. But what's the biggest lie? What's the biggest lie people believe about trading or investing?
That you have to have a super crazy skill set to do it. You don't. I got a girl that has a high school education. She works 2 jobs. She hasn't put her kids to bed in 3 years on Friday, Saturday, Sunday because she's got to bartend. Wow. Now, 2 months later, she sent me a video kissing her kids goodnight. It says, my kids are never going to have somebody else put them to bed. And now she wants to know how she can make enough money to quit her day job, which she's only making $2,500 a month. We're averaging, our team's averaging $3,500 a week with doing a 0.1 lot size. So we do real conservative. Now I trade bigger lot sizes, but we, the way we set it up, you have to lose 25 trades in a row to lose your account. So we ensure people win, and we
Just
make
so you
sure.
know, I've seen that. I've experienced all this stuff, good, bad, and ugly. But so the biggest fallacy is you have to be educated. Bullshit. It's all training, experience, how bad you want it, and you can get a good education on this akashics. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a novice, if you're a starter, you give them all the tools they need.
You don't have to know anything, and for $149, you can start making money.
You can start and learn, right? For people that didn't get an education through school, for whatever, unfortunate. I know a lot of I've come into contact lately with a lot of high school dropouts.
My
But
ex drug dealer,
but
my
some
ex cocaine dealer is one of my best traders, and
isn't that
he's been
great?
legit for years. And he had no money. He lost everything. Didn't go to high school. Didn't have anything. I ran into him when I was in my hometown a few months ago, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing, man." He goes, "I can't sell drugs no more because I'll go to jail for the rest of my life." And he goes, "I'm working at Wendy's." I'm like, "You're 55 years old. You're working at Wendy's?" Like,
Oh wow,
and this dude used to sell kilos, and now I have him trading. He's making 300-400 bucks a day, and
I love
he's
it.
loving life.
I love it. I love it. You're a good man. You stand for goodness and wellness, and with people that can serve others and also offer them a path to financial freedom. That's the key because a lot of people talk about the sort of esoteric things we talk about giving back and God and faith and praying in the morning. But a lot of people are struggling just to pay bills and keep the phone on. I mean, I had to I had to send some money to some people that I know just because they're going to shut the phone off and little
Mhm.
stupid things. And I'm like, but if you can show them a path where they can sort of fend for themselves, put food on their table, this is not like a get rich quick scheme.
No.
You're offering a chance to educate people, and so they can create their own path to financial freedom. You're just introducing that to them, just like
Yeah.
you're introducing them to the concept of faith and good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so
Give a guy a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, feed him for life.
and you're offering a fishing rod, a couple of lures, a couple of worms,
Hmm.
some nylon rope. I love it. These are one word prompts. Before we finish, my team loves this, and they wrote it up for you. I'm going to throw a word at you, and just give me an immediate response. Keep it short. One word, one sentence, short. You ready?
Yeah.
Mindset.
Everything.
Good answer. Failure.
Necessary.
So far, you got 100, kid. Money.
Not the root of evil, but a vessel to do good.
Love it. Discipline.
Key to any success in anything you do.
Love it. Fear.
Embrace it.
Wow. Legacy.
Everyone needs one.
Hustle.
My life.
Me too. Gratitude.
Most important thing other than praising God.
Right. And you know what? When you have gratitude, you are praising God. Right? You're
Mhm.
thanking. Power.
Use it wisely.
Beautiful. Success.
Happiness.
Beautiful.
And it doesn't mean it's by money. Success is in different ways.
Well, everybody has their own definition, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you quickly mine because I was in prison a lot, and guys, Googled me and they saw American Greed and they read about me, all these different things. They would say, so, OG, old man,
Yep.
what's success to you? And I had a long time to think about it. Success to me today is to be so cool that my adult children want to hang out with me.
Yeah.
That's we're all different. That's my
Mhm.
definition of success today, and I'm happy to say so far I'm succeeding.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I'm only out at a year. Regret,
Don't let it define you.
beautiful, pain,
Pain is pain's a tough one. You can't change that pain, so just endure it. It's not going to last.
Right, embrace it. Embrace it. It's to teach. It's a touchstone to growth and all that. Right. Freedom.
That's the ultimate success.
I agree. Boy, until they take it away, you don't really know what it is, right? I mean,
Yep.
you think you know, right? Respect.
A necessity.
Correct. Great. Faith.
Everything, everything, and everything.
I love it. Greg Finney, what do we see from you in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, I'm going to feed every homeless person in Las Vegas, and I'm going to inspire many across the world to do the same thing.
Wow, that's beautiful. Do you know this Catalina McGee out of Las Vegas?
Oh, yeah, I just did her podcast.
You did?
Yeah.
I love this woman. I just love her. And I know she feeds the homeless a lot, and
Yeah, we're collaborating on some things. I was literally just on her podcast last week. She's just amazing, amazing woman, man.
I just adore her in every way. She was on my pod. I was actually on her podcast, but remotely like this. And when I come to Vegas, I want to, make a point to see you, to see her. You guys are doing great stuff. I appreciate your time today. It's been a privilege to get to know you like this. If you see Brad or speak to him, send him my best. I'll call him soon. Catalina, tell her the same thing. And anything else you want to say to the audience before we sign off?
No, yeah, I actually do. Don't let your fear stop you from doing the things that you want to do. Fear is all created around what you think others think of you. Stop caring what others think. When you stop caring what others think about you, your fear goes away and you will achieve everything you want in life. You will climb every mountain that's in front of you.
Amen, brother. Amen. Thank you so much, Greg, for
Yeah,
appearing
thank
today.
you.
What a privilege.